Hello and welcome. In this video, I'm walking through the tracker I've used to manage my options wheel trades over the last few years. This isn't about predictions, it's about how I track decisions, income, and risk over time. Quick disclaimer before we begin. This video is for educational purposes only and should not be considered financial or investment advice. Always do your own research and consult with a qualified financial professional before making investment decisions. Past performance is not indicative of future results, and all investing involves risk. The tracker shown reflects how I personally track trades and is provided for educational use, not as a recommendation or trading system. I want to start by orienting you to what you're looking at. This tracker actually contains almost 1,200 individual trades. I'm hiding them here so we can focus on the big picture. Nothing is being removed. You'll notice row numbers jump around. That's just me collapsing sections to keep things clean. I'll do a quick left to right walkthrough so you understand the structure. I'm not going to camp out on every column, just enough context so this makes sense. First is the type, put or call. That just tells me what kind of contract the trade is. Income is the premium I made or expect to make once the trade closes or expires. Diff shows how far the trade is from the strike. Green means the trade is out of the money. Red means it's in the money. DTE is days to expiration while the trade is open, or how the trade ultimately closed. Expiry is the contract expiration date. Opened is simply the date I sold the contract and received the premium. Closed is the date I bought the contract back, if I did. Ticker is the stock symbol. Market shows the stock price. If the trade is still open, it's the current price. If the trade is closed, it's frozen at the price when the trade ended. This next column is bought when. It shows where the stock was trading when I sold the contract. If I had decided to buy the shares outright at that moment, that's the price I would have paid. This column is the cost basis. If I'm assigned, this becomes my true cost basis. That basis carries forward into covered calls, so I'm tracking the entire life of the position, not just a single trade. Strike is the price I agreed to in the contract. Annualized return is the annualized percentage for the trade. It's a comparison tool, not a promise, and it helps me evaluate trades with different durations. Quantity is the number of contracts. Paid is the premium paid to me. Exit is my take profit target, typically 50% on puts. This keeps exits mechanical and removes emotion. And finally, account tells me where the trade lives. Retirement, Roth, or brokerage. Once you understand these columns, the rest of the tracker becomes really intuitive. It's just telling the story of each trade. One quick honesty moment on the bought when column. This isn't about being perfectly precise, down to the penny. It's about understanding the discount created by selling puts. The real decision happens around the strike, the premium, and the resulting cost basis, not perfect historical prices. This column just helps me keep that relationship clear. Calls use the same structure and logic. There are only two real differences. The diff calculation is reversed, so red still means in the money, and also the exit target is 80% instead of 50%. Everything else works the same. If you notice the gray-colored cells, those are the only places I manually enter the trade contract specifics after I place a trade. Once those cells are filled, the spreadsheet does the rest. That keeps things consistent and reduces mistakes. Now that you've seen how individual trades work, this top section is just a summary of everything we walked through. These are links to option play spreadsheets I've used to find trade setups. Please note, you'll need an options play account to use these resources. I'm not using them live here. They just show how this tracker evolved. The bought and assigned cells are helper cells. Let me copy-paste trade status so formulas stay clean. In the shared 3-year example, I've removed the running totals so we stay focused on structure and decision-making. In the downloadable version, these totals update automatically with your trades, not mine. In the shared 3-year example, I've removed the running totals so we stay focused on structure and decision-making. In the downloadable version, these totals update automatically with your trades, not mine. But all it does is add up all the income from the second column that you've generated. This put ratio shows how much income comes from the cash side versus the stock side. It's not saying puts are better. It reflects how often capital is working while waiting. Over here, I can type in any ticker and instantly see how much premium it's generated over time. This helps identify which stocks consistently pay me and which ones just feel busy. And the tracker isn't about predicting markets, it's about building income that continues to work through volatility, drawdowns, and sideways markets, one disciplined trade at a time. So I'll wrap this up with why this tracker exists and why I actually use it. First, this isn't about tracking every penny every day, it's about clarity. I want to understand what's actually driving results, not stare at noise. The tracker lets me measure performance at the individual contract level, not just account balance. I can see which cash secured puts and covered calls are pulling their weight and which ones aren't worth the capital. It also simplifies trade management. For every position, I already know my take profit and buyback targets, so decisions become mechanical. I'm not reacting to red days or headlines, I'm just executing the plan. Another big reason I use this is that it organizes data Thinkorswim simply doesn't show. TOS is great for placing trades, but for example, when I'm assigned shares and sell covered calls, TOS shows the position at the stock's strike price. It doesn't factor in the premiums I've already collected from puts or calls, so it's not my true cost basis. This tracker keeps the math honest. And finally, it gives me some really useful data points, like how option premiums continue to generate income during market pullbacks, and how my mix of puts versus calls evolves over time. I built this tracker for myself first to stay disciplined and consistent. This tracker didn't start as a 3-year tracker. It grew into one. If it helps you think more clearly about your own trades, that's a win.
As always, trade the plan, not the panic. See you in the gym.